What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight... Alright, we're coming back to Rainbow. Yes, indeed. Rainbow Fans Feeling You. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to do all the clicks and the likes and the bibbity bop, do me a favor. Before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Wencho101, and this is actually Wencho's prioritized request for the month of March for being a silver tier member on the Patreon page. So, here you go, Wencho. I hope you enjoy the show, man. Wencho wanted to see me react to this song by Rainbow called Gates of Babylon. Now, have I heard the song before? I don't think so. I'm not 100% certain about that. I know I've heard a couple of songs from Rainbow in the past, but I don't know the names of all the ones that I've heard. So there is a chance I've heard this before, but the name Gates of Babylon does not ring any bells with me. So I'm going to assume for right now that I have not heard this song before. Now, as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, oh, wow, okay, so I have heard this song before, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This was posted by Bob Daisley, okay? And the video has 3.3 million views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Rainbow, Gates of Babylon. Cool. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
From the sea, I can take you anywhere. Spend a vision with me, a chase with the wind. Move closer to me. I can make you anyone. I think you're ready to see the gates of Babylon. Rises to trap you within. A magic coming right a teeny maybe more. City of heavenly sin. Sleep with the devil and then you must pray. Sleep with the devil will take you away.
Pause. Okay. First of all, this does not sound familiar, so I do not believe I've heard this before. Secondly, okay, Ryan James Dio's vocals. We're gonna put those aside for right now. Of course, they're the most standout thing in the song. I get that, okay, but we're just gonna put them aside for a little bit, and I want to talk about that rhythm section. I want to talk about the drummer, and I want to talk about the bass player. Coming up with this pattern that is, it's like borderline funk. I mean, it really is. If you listen to what's being played, it's borderline funk. I would almost dare say it is funk. The bassist, I believe that's Bob Daisley. Bob Daisley's like one of the most respected bass players in the world of rock from like the 70s through the mid to early 80s, early to mid 80s, I mean. He's got this line going where it's root to the 5 to the 8, it's all of those offbeats too, a lot of offbeat work, a lot of heavy accent works, especially when he does go up to the octave, but that's all it is. It's 158. 158. I mean, it's ridiculously simple, but it's so effective. But it has that funk feel to it, man. It really does. Like if you were to, okay, take out Ronnie James Dio out of the mix. Take him out of the mix. Take the guitar player, who I think that's Richie Blackmore. Take him out of the mix as well. And let's take out the keyboard player while we're at it, okay? And let's strip it down to just bass and guitar. It's not bass and guitar, bass and drums. We're going to strip it down to just bass and drums. That's a funk feel. That is absolutely a funk feel. The drummer playing straight ahead, no embellishments on any offbeats or anything like that. It is a straight ahead, 2x4 feel. I mean, it's really, really simple what he's doing. And then what the bass player, what Bob Daisley is doing is simple as well with the 158. I'm telling you, that is the foundation for a great funk song. It really is. What's making it rock is the keyboard and the guitar and Ryan James Dio's vocals. But if you listen to it, I kid you not, just focus on the bass and drums and you'll see what I'm talking about. That funk feel. Watch. See if you can catch it.
You can see, but you're blind. Someone turned the sun around, but you can see in your mind the gates of Babylon. The power of what has been before rises to trap you within. Magic coming right, a genie, maybe more. City of heavenly sin. Sleep with the devil, and then you must pray. Sleep with the devil will take you away.
I think the guitar solo's over. I think it's safe to pause. Whoo! Long one. It sounds great. I'm enjoying what I'm hearing. It sounds really good. I really got no issue with anything I'm hearing. It's okay. In all honesty, does it sound old? Does it sound dated? Yeah, it sounds dated. I mean, it's from the 70s. Of course, it's going to sound dated. You know, I mean, recording technology, what it was back then, you don't get the HD quality that you used to, that we're used to today. You're not going to get it here. You know, it's not possible. You're going to get that hiss. You're going to get, you know, those volume drops and stuff like that, and fidelity issues. You're going to get that. But the funny thing is, music from this era, like if you go back and you listen to some of these albums that have been remastered, I've always had a bit of an issue with remastering albums. Because this is going to sound really weird, but just hear me out. There is a certain character or a certain charm that comes with those fidelity issues and comes with that hiss, comes with those volume drops and, you know, stuff like that. There's a certain charm that comes from those things when it comes to music from this era. You know what I mean? Like, you take this song, you remaster it, and you clean it up, you get rid of the hiss, you get rid of that, you thicken up the sound, you bolster the sound, you make it sound bigger and richer and fuller. I mean, will it sound better? Technically, by letter of the law, yes, it will, but there are a lot of times I'll listen to those remastered albums, and I'll be like, okay, well, that sounded great, and the next thing I do is I go back and I grab, you know, the original recordings and I listen to it, just for my own comfort level. It's not because the remasters did a bad job of remixing or re-editing or anything like that. They did a great job of it. Mission accomplished. They did exactly what they set out to do. But albums and songs like this, from this era, I'm sorry, I like it better with the hiss. I like it better with the fidelity issues. I like it better with, you know, that sound, that signature sound, and the quote unquote low quality comparatively to what we have today of sound. There's just something raw about it. And it has that characteristic, it has that character. And it, to some extent, it has that charm. And I really like it. I do. So I'm glad we're not hearing a remastered version. I'm glad we have those fidelity issues and such, because it really does add to the song. But everybody's doing a fine job. Keyboards keeping the song full throughout that entire solo. Bob Daisley keeping it locked down on the low end. Really nice job. Keeping it simplified, you know, 1 to the 8 to the flat 9, down to the flat 7 to the 8, back down to the root again. I mean, it's a really simple riff. It's not a hard riff at all. But it's a very, very easy to follow groove. Especially locked in with the drummer like he is. Drummer doing a fine job, not overplaying. Really putting the spotlight, or allowing the spotlight to be put on the guitar player during the guitar solo, which was very needed. Really nice solo. To be honest with you, I think the solo he played was just fine. I'm a little surprised. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I'm not surprised. If this is Ritchie Blackmore, like I suspect it is, then I'm not surprised. The style, it wasn't as complex as I was thinking it would be. A little more laid back, a little more relying on sustained notes and vibrato. And that's actually very much Ritchie Blackmore's style. He's not a shredder. I mean, he can, but that's not his signature sound. So his solo just fit the song great. Looks like we're going to be coming back in with vocals, and I guess we're going to end the song out. Let's finish this out. We'll get to the review.
Look away from the sea. I can take you anywhere.
Camera and shot.
Vision with
being shot.
Chase with the wind. Move closer to me. I can make you anyone. I think you're ready to see the gates of Babylon. The power of what has been before rises to trap me within. A magic coming right and genie maybe more. City of heavenly sin. Sleep with the devil and then you must pay. Sleep with the devil will take you away.
Probably my favorite part of the whole song right there.
Gates of Babylon.
The throwing into the triplets there.
The devil is me and I'm holding the key to the gates of sweet hell forever.
Nice to solo rondo. Heard some strings right at the end there. I kind of, hearing those strings, I kind of wish we'd heard more of those strings throughout the whole song. I think that would have been a nice addition. Okay, let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Rainbow with Gates of Babylon. This was a request from Wencho101. And this was actually Wencho's prioritized request for the month of March for being a silver tier member on the Patreon page. So there you go, Wencho. I hope you enjoyed the show, man. Let's just get to it. Let's just get to it. We'll make this quick. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that an 8.8. Yep, 8.8. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay. This is my second reaction now to Rainbow, and my very first reaction was to the song Stargazer. And the reason I remember that is I really enjoyed that song. I really did. I've gone back quite a few times and listened to that song. And I know I scored that in the 9s. Now, I don't remember exactly where in the 9s I scored it, but I do remember it was in the low 9s. It was like a 9.1 or a 9.2 or maybe a 9.0. I don't remember exactly where, but I do remember it was in the low 9s. I'm giving this an 8.8. And I'm going to tell you all the reasons why. I promise, okay? Number one, first of all, was this song good? No, it wasn't good. It was great. This was a great song, okay? It really was. Even if and this is going to sound really weird, even in its simplicity, and what I mean by that is if you listen to what was happening within the bass and the drums in particular, and to some extent the keyboard as well, it was a pretty simple song. There really wasn't a whole lot of things going on there that I would call impressive. All of the impressive things were happening in the guitar work and in the vocals. So the impressiveness was there, but it was there in 2/5 of the band, while the other 3/5 were just holding it down and keeping things simple, but keeping things full sounding and keeping things easy to follow, which for a lot of people, that means a big difference. It really does. It sounded really good despite the fidelity issues. I think it sounded just fine. I think the fidelity issues add to some of the character of the song, in all honesty, giving it kind of that raw feel, and I can absolutely appreciate that. The groove that was being set up by the drummer, really nice. The fills that he was playing were nice. At times, I do kind of feel like some of the fills were just a little overplayed, just ever so slightly, but they still sounded good. They didn't distract from and detract from anything that was happening anywhere else. So it's fine. It's perfectly fine. At times I do think it was a little over the top, but it did sound good. Locking in with the bass player, very important, and they both did a fine job. Bob Daisy, like I said, I have a lot of respect for that man. He's one of the most revered and renowned bass players in the rock world. from, the 70s all the way through the early to mid 80s. I mean, the guy was just, he was like the go-to. He really was. I know he's retired now. I know he doesn't really play anymore, but back in the 70s and early into mid 80s, man, he was everywhere. He was everywhere from Rainbow to Uriah Heep to Black Sabbath to Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, he was everywhere. So I have a lot of respect for the guy. I really do. And listen to his bass line here. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When I first heard the song kick in and I heard the bass line, I'm being honest here, folks. I was a little turned off by it because I'm like, he's playing a funk. Don't get me wrong. It sounds like a good funk bass line, but I don't know if this song really calls for a funk bass line. The more I listened to it and the more I listened to him lock in with the drummer and what the drummer was doing and the two of them working together to really form the foundation of the song, it did make sense. It did sound good. It sounded good all along, but the more I listened to it, the more it made sense. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it makes perfect sense to me. It took a little while for it to grow on me, and then once it did, and I went, okay, this is good, and then the more I listened to it, I enjoyed it even more and even more and even more. The keyboard player doing a fine job of filling out the sound all the way throughout, even during the guitar solos. But at the same time, like I've said about the bass playing, never overtaking and drowning anyone out, just doing the job of filling out the sound. The intro I thought was interesting. I don't know if I would say the intro is necessary, but I do see how it would lead into the song. I mean, it sounded good. I just think they could have started the song right on the downbeat and it would have been fine, but it's okay. It's okay. The guitar playing, really nice job. Really nice job. I really have no issue with anything that the guitarist did. I'm not 100% sure if that's Ritchie Blackmore or not. I think it is. I'm almost positive it is, but I'm not 100% positive. If that is Ritchie Blackmore, that was a very nicely done solo. It's exactly what I would expect from him with his signature style. He is not really a shredder. He can shred, but that's not really him. He's more about those sustained notes. He will arpeggiate, but it's not a sweep. It's just a standard, nice, easy arpeggiations. He'll do those all day long. But he relies more on sustained notes, vibrato, either be from, bending or from his tremolo system, either one. But either way, it sounds really good. I like what he did. Ronnie James Dio, look, I'm not going to sit here and try to evaluate Ronnie James Dio's vocals. Let's just say he did a great job and let's call it that, okay? I heard absolutely nothing that I didn't like. Everything he sang sounded good, sounded strong, sounded powerful, projected, great diction, great vowel formation. Everything the man did was great. I'm not going to touch it, okay? I'm not going to do that. Now, overall, I enjoyed the song. I did. So I'm sure people are wondering, well, why'd you score this lower than Stargazer? If I'm being honest here, folks, I think Stargazer is a better song. I really do. I think Stargazer is a better song. I think it's better written. I think it has more going for it. I think it evolves more. There's just more depth to that song than there is to this song, Gates of Babylon. Now, that is not to say that Gates of Babylon is a bad song. Far from it. I would not be giving this an 8.8 if I thought it was bad. I just happen to think that Stargazer was a little bit better. That's all, okay? I did enjoy this. And believe it or not, I'm going to listen to this again. I enjoyed it that much. I'm definitely going to give this another listen. But yeah, 8.8. I feel good with that score, and that is where we're going to stay. So, 8.8, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.